Hi, Wycliffe Barrett, Xplane dedicated. We're going to have a look at 2 payware items and 2 freeware items. I'll see you after the intro.
November 180 Bravo Bravo, good afternoon to you. Report your outfit. 2,000 feet.
Before we get into the items that I'm going to talk about today, I just want to say a couple of things. A couple of years ago there was a website, I think it was called something like Simflight News, and it was run by 2 guys down in Australia, I believe. And they did a fantastic job, and they would do vlogs, they would do news, they would do more or less what I'm doing, and they were doing really, really well. But all of a sudden, they got disheartened, they got fed up, and one of them went off on a long holiday for 3 months, I think, on a boat, and the other one went and worked on his house, and then they came back and they said they'd had enough. That, as far as they could tell, the Xplane franchise was going nowhere, and that they couldn't find anything to talk about. It was a great shame, because these 2 guys, and I can't remember their names, and I can't even remember the name of the site, but these 2 guys, they were really providing a good service. They were actually talking about Xplane. They got me really enthusiastic about Xplane, and lots of other people as well. And then all of a sudden, they just got fed up and moved. Well, they shut the site down. They did a big announcement. They shut the site down, and that was it. And I've pondered about that, and I've wondered about that for quite an awful long time, and I can't come up with an answer. And a similar sort of thing has happened with Chris K down in Australia, ISDG. Chris and his colleagues, they were really prolific. They were producing fantastic airports, some of the best airports, freeware airports there are. And then they stopped, and I'm really not quite sure what happens, why people do that. I've been in flight simulation for a number of years, as you well know, and since 2012 I've been into Xplane, heart, body and soul. And I've only really had one moment, maybe 2, where I've thought I've had enough, but that's generally because one person has said something, a troll has said something, and it's just hit me, kind of thing. And it's really weird, because it doesn't matter how successful you are or not, and what is a measure of success. It only takes one person to really drag you down, and that one person can say the silliest of things. They can say something like, oh, you had spoilers engaged as you came into land, or your landing was a bit hard, or I don't like that vlog. And that even that can make you think, well, what is the point? So I suppose what I'm saying is that all of you people out there, all the people who are on flight simulation, who look at YouTube, who look at Twitch, who, you know, make comments, just remember there's somebody on the other end, a person, somebody who's poured their heart and soul into something, and it only takes one comment to make them feel bad. I'm just asking people to be a little bit more respectful, you know, respectful of developers, respectful to beta testers, people like me who produce YouTube content and go on to Twitch and broadcast. I mean, we don't have to. We do it because we enjoy it. Maybe we do it because also we're a little bit, you know, we have an ego. I don't know. But, you know, just be aware that there is a person, you know, they're a real person. That's all I want to say. Anyway, let's move on.
A few moments later. So,
4 things I'm going to talk about today, and I'm going to put links in, and we'll put some pictures in as usual. The first thing is Peter's aircraft, Peter Hager. Peter Hager produced an Airbus A319 CFM some years ago, and it was classed as being the best Airbus in terms of fly-by-wire that was produced. There wasn't a custom FMC, but the fly-by-wire was by QPAC, and over the years Peter has poured love into these aircraft. They're on sale at the moment at xplane.org, and what I'm going to say might be a little bit controversial, but whilst they're on sale, get one of them and have a look. They're being updated all the time. Peter, I believe, lives in South America, I'm not quite sure, and you know, he has poured love into these aircraft. His A380 is superb. He has been to Lufthansa and flown the full-size A380 simulator, and pilots have flown his sim, and they say that it's equal to or as close as they can get without actually getting in the plane. As I say, the one thing that lets Peter's aircrafts down, there are no custom FMCs, but I do believe he's working on that, and each aircraft will be upgraded as such. Have a look. It's on xplane.org. If you can afford one, then buy one. I had one ages ago. You know, it was one of the first aircraft I bought, and I wasn't very good at Airbus, but his manuals are incredibly comprehensive, and if you can't find your way around an Airbus after reading one of his manuals, then there's something drastically wrong. Okay. The next aircraft I want to talk about is Alabeo's P-32 Saratoga 2 turbocharged. Alabeo have been producing aircraft in the other simulator for an awful long time, and they really hit the nail on the head when they're producing their aircraft for Xplane. They have so many bells and whistles, it's unbelievable. The lighting in the aircraft, especially the night lighting, are sublime, and the exterior modelling is absolutely superb. The Saratoga, the PA-32, is quite a nice aircraft, but once again there's a cost factor here. As always, you know, with payware versus freeware, you kind of hope that when you're buying payware that you're getting that little bit extra. With the GA aircraft from Alabeo and Coronado, although I haven't got any Coronado aircraft to talk about this week, with the GA aircraft from Alabeo, you are getting every penny's worth, and they're really, really good. And so I would suggest that if you can, have a look at it. You know, it's on xplane.org. I will put a link in the description below. Have a look, see what you think, and take it from there. It's entirely up to you whether you buy these things. I only make recommendations. I don't tell you you must get it. I just make recommendations, and if you can afford it, then by all means. I'm going to talk about a couple of freeware airports now, and the first one I'm going to talk about is euphemistically called EGAC Belfast Pro Edition version 1.0. When somebody says Pro Edition, or when something says Pro Edition, I'm really expecting something to be really good. And I have to say that with what I've seen, and I haven't downloaded it, but I just looked at the screenshots, what I've seen, I can't tell whether it's a Pro Edition or not. Because unfortunately, the person who's taken the photographs hasn't gotten used to the Xplane view system, and in almost every shot is an aircraft. So rather than seeing the airport, all I'm seeing is an aircraft. There are a couple of shots where you can see some of the terminal buildings, and they do look very good, but unfortunately not enough. So it's one of those things that you've got to download it to see if it's any good. I've got a Belfast airport and I think it's okay, so am I going to download this one? I don't know. But you know, it's there, it's free. Have a look. It may not even come anywhere near your other Belfast, and if that's the case, then don't bother. But if you haven't got a Belfast airport, then do bother, okay? Once again, it's up to you. It's just me giving you my recommendations. But there is one freeware airport that has just come onto the org, and it is absolutely brilliant. This is ZSPD Shanghai Pudong International Airport. This is superb, and it's been constructed by a collaboration of about 5 or 6 people from what I can see, and it features photorealistic textures. It's got some custom buildings in there. It's huge. I mean, the airport, when I say it's huge, the airport itself is massive. It is absolutely massive. It covers a really large area. And it's difficult to tell whether this is a work in progress or whether it's completed, because it is so big. And there are like buildings in the middle of all the runways, and there are buildings outside, and some of them are custom buildings. But then when you look closely, the ground markings have been done, but then it looks a bit sparse, as if it's not completely finished. So I'm not quite sure whether it's a work in progress. It doesn't say it's a work in progress, so it might not be, it might be finished. But It is very good. This is really, really very good. And as I say, it's a collaboration between a number of people. They've got themselves a pretty nasty name, which is Chinese Development Design Group or something. I'll put a link in the bottom always and a full description, and you can have a look at that. If you ever fly to China and you fly to Shanghai, then this is the airport to get. Well, that's it for me. It's a short vlog, but once again, a bit of information in there. I will, as I say, as always, put descriptions in below, and I'll put pictures in throughout this little bit of blurb. I hope you all have a good time. I'm away all weekend because it's my daughter's big birthday, so to speak. She's the big 4-0, so I'm going to be away all weekend, and I'll see you next week. Cheerio. Yeah.